All right, welcome back to Twin Terror. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
And Gary has thoughts.
I have thoughts. I have many, many thoughts.
Yeah, y'all, this makes no context. If you had been watching the video 10 seconds before I hit record, and Gary's like, okay, here's two ideas. These are my thoughts. Okay, we'll go with it. Here's Gary's thoughts.
Yeah, so even though we don't really rehearse, we do discuss, well, what do you want to talk about?
We just stack the decks. That's all we do. Rehearsal, smersal.
Yeah, exactly. Just go for it, right? You can tell by our fantastic editing skills that
the high production value of these readings.
Yeah, we're nothing if not high production value with our high quality props. And
I mean, I used to put up my little wooden shield over there to hide my desk, and it's just like, that thing weighs a ton. I can't be bothered. So you get to see my work desk behind me.
So I had a couple ideas. Dave's like, yeah, that's good. Let's do it. So and he hit record. It's just like, we don't even know which one we're going to record first.
No, we don't know what's going on for this reading. It makes it hard to stack the deck.
Let's yeah, exactly. So let's start with, since I got it up on my phone, let's talk about Zalinsky and Trump and Putin and the United States trying to ram a peace deal right up Zalinsky's backside.
Oh dear.
So what's been going on is, Trump is just hell bent to get a Nobel Peace Prize. President Obama got one, and Trump, he just, Joe Biden and Barack Obama are renting free space in Trump's brain, and Trump just can't handle it. And so Obama got a Peace Prize, and Trump's just losing his shit because he has to get a Peace Prize now because Obama got one. And so his idea is, well, if I ram a peace plan through with Russia and Ukraine, I'll get my Peace Prize. How could they not give one to me, right?
Except that, like Popeye and Bluto fighting over olive oil. Every time he gets them to have a truce, Bluto takes a shot at Popeye, and Popeye punches back.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're brawling again.
Exactly. And so, Zalinsky's his points are, in my opinion, now granted I'm biased and I've stacked the deck accordingly, but Zalinsky is. Oh, sorry, am I keeping you awake?
I just had some Mexican food, and I've been up since 5 a.m, so I'm tired.
Aww. So Zalinsky, he basically, hey, I want Russia out of my country. I want Russia to help pay to rebuild my country. And while we're at it, I want Crimea back that Russia basically stole illegally from us. And he goes, and he referenced a 2018 quote from the United States. I forget who made the quote. That basically said, hey, Russia took over Crimea illegally and they should get out. And Trump thinks this is unreasonable. Yeah, and so Trump's telling Zalinsky that that basically, you're preventing this peace plan from going through.
You're preventing me from getting my Nobel Peace Prize.
That's exactly what it is.
Nice prize. Thank you very much. I've worked hard for it.
And J.D. Vance is basically saying, that, pretty much whatever dirt you've got is what you get to keep. And then they say, would you clarify that? And J.D. Vance is like, well, not exactly. But, Ukraine's got to give up some of the dirt they've got. And the Russians have to give up some of the dirt they've got. But basically, when I read the article, J.D. Vance is basically saying Russia gets Crimea, and they might get a little bit more out of this. And that's the U.S.'s peace plan. And, and Ukraine, you just, pucker up and kiss, because that's the best kiss you're going to get from us. And if you don't agree to it, then we're just going to walk away, and we're just going to leave this alone. They're saying we've done all this extraordinary work and we've bent over backwards for this peace plan negotiation. And I don't know, I kind of look at it as just like, all you're doing is just trying to ram a solution down their throats and then claim victory and get your Peace Prize. Yeah, that's what I see.
Tell your supporters you won yet again.
Exactly. So the Rubio, they were supposed to have some pretty high level talks, and Rubio backed out because it's just like, Russia and Ukraine aren't, mostly Ukraine is like, no, we're not going to sign on that dotted line. And so Rubio's like, well, I got better things to do than try to actually negotiate a peace deal if you're not ready to sign on the dotted line. So he's going to go do whatever else he's going to go do. Mm-hmm. So let's just take a quick look. I'll start it off. Just look at the energy of this peace deal from the perspective of, we should probably look at the United States, Russia, and Ukraine. So let's see, how's it looking from the point of view of the United States? Okay, foundation reading is Queen of Swords. This is what you need to do to end the war. This is, the thing that does get up my nose is when Trump starts saying that Ukraine started it. It's just, if that's where your negotiations and your peace treaty starts, your end destination is not going to be correct. Your starting point is incorrect. So from the U.S. standpoint, Queen of Swords, this is what happened. If you want this to end, both sides have to give something up a little bit. But this is what we think is fair. The challenge is the Sun card, which is for the rest of us out there, we can see what happened. Ukraine did not invade Russia. Ukraine did not provoke Russia. Russia just invaded it because Putin got Crimea for nothing. It didn't cost him a thing to get it. And he figured he could take over the rest of Ukraine in 3 days. Yep. But, the challenge is the rest of us can see what's happening, and we can see that this peace deal that the U.S. is trying to broker is not just. Underneath it, you got the High Priestess. Whatever secrets or negotiations that are going on, they're going on behind the scenes. There may be some agreements that I'm sure there are agreements that Trump and Putin have that have not come to light. And it's certainly coloring Trump's strategy and tactics to force an end to this war or come up with a fair settlement on this war. In the past, you got the Two of Pentacles, Trump trying to live up to his campaign promises, being able to resolve this war in 24 hours and getting his Peace Prize. The current energy is the Three of Pentacles, working in teams, collaborating, trying to come up with solutions that bring in the money, bring in the things of value. Overarching energy is the Seven of Pentacles, reaping what you sow. Trump's looking forward to doing all sorts of money deals with Russia after this is done. He is really anxious to get this peace deal going because he and Putin have all sorts of plans for making money. The lesson to be learned is the Five of Pentacles. If you're not going to be just, you're going to be left out in the cold. And right now, Trump is trying to wave money and trying to wave favors in front of these folks, and they're not having it. These people are suffering, and Trump's just trying to railroad a deal through. Yes. And the outcome is the Four of Pentacles. This is Trump doing everything in Trump's best interest. Whatever benefits him is what he's going to do. This is not in the interest of anyone but Trump. Gold.
You got a lot of pentacle cards in there. You got the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5.
And the 7.
And the 7.
Yeah. Money. Things of value.
I'm going to read on Comrade Vladimir. I wonder why Vladimir, every time Trump thinks he's got a ceasefire and a peace deal going on, Vlad just feels the need to violate it.
Yeah.
Almost like he doesn't respect Trump and will do what he wants to do regardless. I mean, who would think that something like that would happen?
It's surprise.
Queen of Wands, because he wants Ukraine. Yeah, one of the Ukraine cards here, crossed with the Knight of Swords. it's like a crusade with him. He has to have Ukraine. He doesn't want the peace deal because he feels like Ukraine is his, and he's winning. Underneath it is the sun card. In this case, it's not the truth; it's the lies. We got the sunflowers and the sunflowers. I think he's basically being told that his military is doing better than it really is, because probably nobody wants to tell him what's really going on.
Yeah.
So they just tell him that they're making gains. And he actually went to the front lines over the summer to kind of see how things were going. And that's when they were trying to take back, was it Kursk or Donetsk? Is the incursion into Russia, and they were trying to get that back. He was on the front lines for it. Why does he keep doing that? Because he's being lied to. He thinks he's winning. And Ukraine's going to give up. In the past, you got the 10 of coins. This whole invasion was about, not only was it legacy, but it was about money. They wanted to get to, those rare earth metals that Donald Trump keeps saying that Ukraine needs to give to the U.S. Guess who also wants that stuff?
Yeah.
Because it's going to help you build processors so you can have AI.
Here's your legacy.
Current situation is the Nine of Swords. He keeps violating the ceasefire. It could be maybe some of the truth is leaking onto him. He's starting to get a better understanding that things aren't as glorious as they should be. And maybe he thinks that he's just one.
To me, this is like, why won't this war end?
Well, he knows why it won't end, but why won't they surrender? I think is maybe where you're going with it. Overarching energy is the devil. You know what it is? He's just trying to make Ukrainians' lives miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that by attacking the infrastructure, knocking out the heat and the power and the electricity, that type of thing during the winter months. That's been kind of his thing. And I also think that the reason why he keeps attacking is he doesn't want them to get any rest. Just keep the pressure on them the whole time. Putin's corrupt. He's the one who's breaking the ceasefire and then gaslighting people, saying that Ukraine's doing it. Lesson we learned is the justice card, but the world courts, they think they've already, Vladimir Putin's wanted on crimes against humanity. So he's not going anywhere. And in some ways, he has to continue to prosecute this fight, because if he doesn't and he loses, he doesn't have a message right away to convince the Russian people that they won, he's going to face some justice in his own country. And then we end with the death card here. They're not going to topple Ukraine. I think, if anything, the king is going to topple before that. Putin's running out of time. And that's maybe another reason why he's not stopping, is he's running out of time. And if you stop now, it's over and you lose. Even if because they already had the Crimean Peninsula and the territories. They've gained a little bit of land, but not that much.
No.
Certainly not to justify the casualties that they've suffered. Hundreds and thousands of casualties, and probably hundreds of thousands of deaths that they've suffered of their young men.
Oh my!
Yes, just like Nico. You have Punky. I got Nico. Say hello to everyone, Nico.
Hey, Nico. All I see is eyes. He's a good boy.
Earlier.
So how's Zalinsky feeling about this whole thing? Zalinsky's really kind of between a rock and a hard spot. He's sitting up there on the mountain to right, but he's got all these people that are just trying to get him to.
All these people are just Donald Trump and his lackeys.
Yeah, well,
you're supporting him.
Well, and Putin too, but yeah, he's sitting on the mountain to right. His people are sacrificing themselves. They're fighting like crazy, and what they're doing is benefiting the United States, because they are severely weakening Russia.
Yeah,
and all things equal, the United States should be like, yeah, baby, keep it up, and here, let us help.
It's just so funny that before 2016, if this had happened and we were doing that, the Republican conservative war hawks would be all over this.
Oh yeah,
be like, yeah, pummel them down. Let's give you more stuff to to destroy their infrastructure. We'll send Putin back to the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
Not only militaristically, but why is this up? Because I'm doing that.
Yeah. So how's Zalinsky feeling about this?
Economically and militaristically.
Right. Five of Swords. This is a kind of a win at all costs. He's in for a penny, in for a pound. We are defending our homeland here, and I think he's basically he wants to honor the sacrifices that his people have made for this. The challenge is the Eight of Wands. This is all of the Trump rhetoric machine going full tilt, spewing Russian talking points. It could also be all the drone and missile attacks that they've had to endure. Underneath it is the Lover's card. The relationship with between Ukraine and the United States, the relationship between Ukraine and Europe, and Ukraine and NATO. It's these relationships. They're starting to develop and change. The United States relationship is starting to weaken, but the NATO countries are rallying around Ukraine because they recognize that they're next. If Ukraine succumbs, then Putin may be emboldened to keep trying. In the past, you got the Ten of Wands. Ukraine's just got this huge burden to defend. They're being attacked. They're outmanned, and they were outgunned, but now they've got the technology. They don't have the manpower, but they have the technology, and they're playing defense. So they can make this go for a while, but it's a huge burden on them. The current energy is a Chariot. Things are moving forward. The peace negotiations will continue, but the war is also continuing. Overarching energy is the Queen of Cups. This must be so frustrating for Zalinsky, and he's got to do his best to be the adult in the room, especially when you got Trump acting like a spoiled 10-year-old who wants the big shiny peace prize. And he's willing to throw Zalinsky into the bus for it. Lesson to be learned is the Page of Swords. There's a lot of young people that made the ultimate sacrifice for this meat grinder, on both sides. But it's, he's fighting for the future of Ukraine. And the outcome is the Nine of Wands. Just tired, tired of the fighting, tired of the battle. People are getting weary. And that's probably part of Putin's plan of keeping the pressure on, is to finally, break the will on the home front, as it will, as you were. But the people are getting tired, and they want this to be over with.
Ukraine wins the war of attrition.
Yeah.
Well, in as much as that's what Russia's throwing at him, is a war of attrition. But taking over is the easy part. Taking over the country is the easy part, as Bo the Fifth Column pointed out many, many times on his podcasts.
Yeah.
Holding it is a completely different matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Russia doesn't have the troops to hold it. It's just going to be massive insurrections all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Russia's not even close to holding the territory.
Yeah, they haven't even gotten to the point where they're in control of the territory.
Yeah.
And that's it's like Dave was referencing Bo of the Fifth Column. I guess it's Bell of the Ranch now, but when it was Bo of the Fifth Column, Bo was saying, the grabbing the territory, that's the easy part. It's the holding on to it and governing over it is going to be the tough part, because you're going to have rebellions and, like Dave said, insurrections, constant guerrilla warfare. Once you try and get a foothold in there, but they can't even get the foothold. So, I think that a peace deal can be had, but it's got to be a lot more favorable to Ukraine, frankly. If they want to have a reasonable chance at it, it's got to be far more favorable to Ukraine. Or you have a health event with Putin.
Yeah. Or Trump.
Or Trump.
Because one of the things that the United States does supply, besides arms, is intelligence, and that does help Ukraine keep Russia at bay. And we saw when Trump paused that intelligence that Russia was making gains more quickly.
Yeah,
because Ukraine could flood the field defensively where they needed to be.
Yep.
It'd be nice if other European nations were capable of providing that intelligence as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's dependent on the U.S.
All right. That's what I got.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video and supporting our channel. We do appreciate it.
If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. I read them all and respond to many. And unlike the other bargain basement Twin Tarot channels, we do things that they don't. Like we give shout outs, for example. And I got
give me a chance to come up with some snarky comment.
Well, here we go. So let's give a shout out to Debbie Smith, because she says, I'd really like a shout out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start checking out those other cheaper Twin Tarot channels to see if they're giving shout outs for me.
I'm glad you gave her a shout out. Do we have to give her a card too? There you go. Oops.
Oh, yes.
Very wise to play the play that you played.
Exactly. And, in a similar theme, I'm sort of bouncing around. Teresa Berryman, go Long Beach. Teresa Berryman says, Twin Tarot is outpacing the bargain brand channels.
Thank God. It was our advertising.
There is that sort of truth. Thank you, Teresa.
Exactly. Our advertising budget is going to the roof.
A shout out to Jeeper Skip. And she'd like a Jeeper Skip would like a card. I think what happened was, remember the video where I froze and there was nothing from that? I wonder if I had a shout out for Jeeper Skip on that, because I know I've called this person out. Oh, was that the Six of Pentacles?
Yes.
Yeah. So
you're given second chances.
Yes, exactly. Thank God. I'd hate to upset them. David P. from Iowa.
He probably frequents those.
He was really hoping we give him a shout out. The Two of Pentacles there. I knew you would appreciate it because he's got a phenomenal first name. He's clearly a man to be reckoned with.
I was just concerned that he was checking out the other Twin Tarot channels.
Oh, we don't want that.
His whites won't be whiter than white, that's for sure.
Oh my. And then just a couple more. Robin Davis, who made a very thoughtful contribution to the channel. Thank you so much, Robin. Very active in the chat. Yep. That's a perfect card. Page of Wands. And then Goalkeeper's Mom also made a very nice contribution to the channel. Woo! Two of Cups, thank you. And then finally, Linda Myville also made a thoughtful contribution to the channel.
Oh, well, that was the last one. They're not going to leave now because you saved the best for last. Hopefully they stayed through this video to the very end.
I know, exactly. And then for the rest of us out there, a secret card.
Maybe I won't end the recording before you show it this time.
Yes, you were breaking hearts because the recording that came out on Wednesday, Dave stopped the recording just as I was about to pull out the Two of Swords card.
So I made it the thumbnail. I don't know if anybody caught that or if you responded to them in the comments.
Yeah, I think I only had to point that out to one person. But I was definitely a Three of Swords. Just like, oh, I didn't get to do the secret card. So that was it.
It was in the thumbnail. So for everybody missing the secret card from the other day, go look at the thumbnail. It was Two of Swords.
It won't be the thumbnail on this video.
No. Okay, everyone. We'll catch you on the next video.
Take care, folks. Bye.